When Miss Emily Grierson died, our whole town went to her funeral." The men threw a sort of respectful affection for a fallen monument. The women mostly had a curiosity to see the inside of her house, which no one save an old manservant, a combined gardener and cook, had seen in at least 10 years. It was a big, squarish frame house that had once been white, decorated with and spires and scrawled balconies in the heavily lightsome style of the 70s, set on what had once been our most select street. But garages and cotton gins had encroached and obliterated even the august names of that neighborhood. Only Miss Emily's house was left, lifting its stubborn and coquettish decay above the cotton wagons and the gasoline pumps and eyesore among eyesore. And now Miss Emily had gone to join the representatives of those august names where they lay in the cemetery among the ranked and anonymous graves of Union and Confederate soldiers who fell at the Battle of Jefferson. The alive Miss Emily had been a tradition, a duty, and a care, a sort of hereditary obligation upon the town, dating from that day in 1894 when Colonel Sartoris, Colonel Mayor, he who fathered the edict that no Negro woman should appear on the streets without an apprend remitted her taxes. The dispensation dating from the death of her father on into perpetuity. Not that Miss Emily would have accepted charity. Sartorius invented an involved tale to the effect that Miss Emily's father had loaned money to the town, which the town, as a matter of business, preferred this way of repaying. Only a man of Colonel Sartorius' generation and thought could have invented it, and only a woman could have believed it. When the next generation, with its more modern ideas, became mayors and aldermen, this arrangement created some little on the first of the year. Mailed her tax notice. February came, and there was no reply. They wrote her the tax notice was also enclosed, formal letter, asking her to call at the sheriff's office at her convenience. A week later, the mayor wrote her himself, offering to call or to send his car for her, and received in reply a note on paper of an archaic shape in a thin, flowing calligraphy in faded ink, to the effect that she no longer went out at night. Without comment, they called a special meeting of the Board of Aldermen. A deputation waited upon Edwasson when he sat down. A hook knocked at the door, through which no visitor had passed since she ceased giving, into a dim hall from which a stairway mounted into still more shadow. It smelled of furnished in heavy, leather-covered furniture. When the Negro opened the blinds of one window, they could see that the leather was cracked. Faint dust rose sluggishly about their thighs, spinning with slow motes in the single. Would have been merely plumpness, and another was obesity in her, Colonel Sartoris explained. Like a body long, submerged in motionless water, and of that pallid hue. Her eyes, lost in the fatty ridges of her face, looked like two small pieces of coal pressed into a lump of dough as they moved from one face to another, while the visitors stated their errand. Perhaps he considers himself the sheriff. She did not ask them to sit. She just stood in the door and listened quietly until the spokesman came to a stumbling halt. Then they could hear the invisible watch ticking at the end of the gold chain. Her voice was dry and cold. "I have no taxes in Jefferson. It to me, perhaps one of you can gain access to the city records and satisfy yourselves, but we are the city authorities. Miss Emily, didn't you get a notice from the sheriff signed by him?" "I received a paper." "Yes," Miss Emily said. "I have no taxes in Jefferson, but there's nothing on the books to show that. You see, we must go by the sea." "Colonel Sartoris, I have no taxes in Jefferson."